Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's tomato planting day. I'm not sure how many I'm putting in. I have 2 totes of tomatoes to do. One of the totes is half full, the other is full. So somewhere I think between 40 and 50, I would guess. So I'm gonna walk you guys through how I plant my tomatoes. There's not a lot to it. There's definitely some steps that you should do when you're doing this to get much healthier tomatoes. So as I go through it, I'll break it all down for you. So I break my tomatoes down into 3 types. We have cherry type tomatoes, we have large slicer tomatoes, which is what's in here, cherry tomatoes and the large slicers. And then this whole tote here are Romas, and I use those for salsa, sloppy joe mix, spaghetti sauce, anything basically cooked tomato style. So how it's going to work is this whole trellis here, that's going to be the Romas, and then this trellis here is going to be the large tomatoes and then the cherry tomatoes here at the end. So the easiest way when you have these many to plant is make it like a production line style type process. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, all the compost is right on the top. Same over there, okay? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my trowel into each hole. I'm going to dig the compost off and I'm going to move it to one side of the hole, right? With the trowel, dig a hole. And then when I get through the compost, I'm going to put the soil on the other side. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want the compost and all the soil amendments that I've added right underneath the compost to go back into the hole. And I want whatever leftover soil to go on top. And that way, if there's any soil left that won't fit back in the hole, I'm only throwing away soil and not the healthy compost. And picked myself up a brand new trowel. I like the narrower, longer trowels for planting plants because I'm digging deeper, not wider, and I need to get into all of these holes that are only about 4 inch by 4 inch. If you get a really wide trowel, it doesn't seem to work as well. Okay, so we're in our tomato bed. There's one more hole right over here, but I'm not going to use that for the demonstration. I'm going to show you on the second hole. So we're going to take our trowel, going to go in, put all the good compost on one side. And we're going to dig down, pull out all the roots that we find, like that. And I want each one of these holes to be almost, 8 or 10 inches deep. So we are up to my thumbs deep in the ground. And the reason for that is when you plant your tomatoes, you want to bury them. Damn crabgrass. Look at this. This is the problem with crabgrass. You leave one little tiny root and you don't get rid of it. So as I go through here, I'll have to be picking these out. So when you plant your tomatoes, you want them definitely deep in the ground. Don't shallow plant your tomatoes. I'll show you when we get to that part. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig all the holes as deep as this one. And I'm going to do all the holes like that, all up and down here, and then all down here. And then I'm going to fertilize those holes, and when I get to that point, I'll explain what I've got for fertilizer. So I've got all of the holes pre-dug. So we're doing, I think I counted 25 Romas and 11 large and cherry tomatoes here. I guess I didn't plant enough tomatoes for the greenhouse because all of those are all extra tomato slots, and then I've got some down there. But that's okay because I can always put beans up there, or cucamelons, or something else, or maybe just go find a different variety of tomato. So that's step one, right? So you can see when I've been digging the holes, like here, you can see how I've separated the compost from the soil. Compost, soil, and when I backfill them, I'm going to put the compost around the tomato root ball and then top it up with that soil. So dig all your holes. If you're going to do this, easiest way, dig all your holes. Okay, and that's step one. Step two, got a big coffee container, and in here is, and it's 1/4 of this container for each of these ingredients. It's bone meal, blood meal, used coffee grinds, and eggshells. But those aren't just eggshells. Those are eggshells, which are calcium carbonate, that I have processed down with vinegar into pure calcium. So the plant will be able to readily uptake these eggshells and the calcium, as opposed to having to completely wait for it to break down. So I'll be releasing that video. So next, basically, all I'm going to do is every plant is just going to get a scoop of this mixture right in the bottom of the hole. Okay, like that. We're going to do all of these plants just the same way. And then when that's done, I've got a small watering can, the little blue one you can see there, not the big one, because that's kind of wonky, makes a bit of a mess. I'll use that blue one because it's got a fine spout on it. And I'm going to fill each one of these holes up with water before I plant the tomato plants in them. And so, okay, so now I'm just going to do all of these, and I'll get back to you when that part's done. See? Super fast, doesn't take long. Of course, hey, you always run out when there's only a couple of holes left. So once you've got all the water in the holes, lay out all your tomatoes. So we've got, those are all the Romas. And then we've got mortgage lifters. We've got mortgage lifters, a couple of Brandywines, a couple of black Crims, and then some sugar lump cherry tomatoes down there. So that's, so now we've got that all out. Next, we're going to plant them one by one, and then we're going to take the tags, because each plant, well, the Romas don't have tags, bad example, because they're all from one bin. So we'll just take the tag, mortgage lifter, plane, hang on. Right on cue, just as I'm trying to film. So after I plant them in the holes, I will just take the tag and stick it right in the top. And then I know what tomato I'm growing. So time to get to planting. All right, let's talk putting tomatoes in the ground. So this is the last sugar lump that I have. All right. My holes are, I don't know, 10, 12 inches deep. I've already, you guys have seen, I've filled them all up with all the soil amendments and all the rest of that. So here's what we're gonna do. Take off all the bottom leaves. And now you see all those little lumps, right? All up on that stem. They'll put roots out of all of those. So the deeper you plant your tomato plant, the healthier your plant will be. right? It won't be water stressed as much, because basically, let's say from my fingers down into the ground to the bottom of this root ball here, that's how deep we're starting the plant off. So right off the bat, if I was to just plant just this solo cup and we got a really bad hot spell while these are still trying to get established, you probably lose your tomato plants, right? But if we put it that deep in the ground, there's no way that soil is even drying out that far down in the ground, right? So basically what you want to do is clean off all the root or all the branches that are going to be buried in the ground. And you never, pay attention, this one's important, you never want your tomato leaves to come in contact with the ground. Say it with me. You never want your tomato leaves to come in contact with the ground. Okay? Soil is the #1 vector for pathogens for your tomato plants, by far. So if your leaves are dragging on the ground, you're literally risking them picking up diseases simply by coming in contact with the soil. So always, always, always strip your plants up to the point where these leaves are not going to come in contact with the ground. Now, I've got geotextile down here, which acts as a buffer between the ground and my plants. Even still, I'm still stripping off all the leaves and raising them above soil level, okay? So I'll put the camera in the hole and you guys can see what we're doing. Take our tomato, we're gonna take the solo cup off it. They just slide out. Now we have our really healthy root mass. Run your thumb or your finger up and down there and disturb some of those roots. You're not damaging the plant, but basically what you're telling those roots is it's time to start spreading out. And then we just bury it in the ground. Watch how far we put these in the ground. You guys see that? I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And then the first bit that goes in is the compost. We pack that around the roots. Next is the leftover soil, like that. And then what I'm doing is I'm leaving a depression right here, like a bowl. So that way it'll catch rainwater and the rainwater will have a chance to filter down. And when I hand water these with watering cans, if it comes to that, then I'm gonna be able to pour water right onto this hole and it'll also just filter down. Lastly, we put our name tag in there and we're planted. And there we go. So all of our aromas are in the ground. And then we've got some mortgage lifters and some black crims and some brandywines and some cherry tomatoes at the end. And you guys want to see something cool? So you guys know what a traditional tomato leaves look like, right? You know, all jaggedy on the sides and stuff like that. Jaggedy on the sides. And this is what a brandywine leaf looks like. More like a potato. Cool, huh? So we're going to grow some brandywines this year. Now, the next step for me, which I'm not doing today, is all my tomatoes are indeterminates, okay? So they will need to be tied to this trellis netting. Hang on a sec. Opening up a bucket. All right, there we go. And I will be using tomato clips. Boom, just like that. That's how easy it is. So I'll be using these. You get them on Amazon. And I might just come back this week. After work one day and tie these up. Because it's going to take a couple of days for them to come out of transplant shock and then they're going to grow like crazy. So I'm going to have to keep tying them up as they grow. But not today, because I got other things to do. So basically we're at the point now where I'm just gonna clean up a little bit. And then I've got a big watering can, and I'm going to water all of these tomatoes and pack up and head out of here. So I hope you guys like the video. There's tons more, guys. There's so much more going in here. I've basically just scratched the surface with the amount of stuff we're planting. So if you guys find this video helpful, awesome, share it out. If you're new here, you should really smash that subscribe button, and y'all need to grow good food. See you in the next one. Bye.